well tonight. My name is Henry McGannon, and I've gathered you here to discuss one of the most interesting cities in the world, and that's London, England. London is one of the most amazing places in the world. If it was its own country, it'd be the 8th largest in Europe. It's been home to the Olympics 3 times, and almost everybody thinks of London when they hear the Beatles, or see fish and chips on a menu, or drink tea. And not the syrupy sweet tea I've come to know in North Carolina. People of all professions and from all around the world go to London for many reasons, and they always leave an impression. Hundreds of famous and important individuals have grown up in this city, come to the city for inspiration, and move to the city. Throughout this speech, I will explain why the city of London is so important to so many individuals, so many people, and why so many people aspire to go there. I will cover some of the basic parts of its history, like why it's so important to England, and how although it is an English-speaking country, the way they talk would sound foreign to most Americans. We'll start with a few facts as to why London is the historical core of the UK. London was established in 43 AD by the Romans. Before being renamed London, it was known as Londinium. In 225 AD, the Romans built a wall to prevent the Saxons from invading. Eventually, this wall was overcome by the Saxons and destroyed, leaving the city of London abandoned until about the 5th century, when it was taken under the rule of the Anglo-Saxons. Their time in power lasted until 1066 AD, when William the Conqueror took over the city. Skipping the era of the Black Plague brings us to the time 1845 to around 1600. During this period of time, London was known as Tudor London. This was when kings and queens ruled the land, such as Queen Elizabeth. This was when William Shakespeare was thriving as a writer, and the phrase "off with their head" was common. Further down the timeline was the Great Fire of London, which took place in 1666. Kind of weird that it ends in 666. This burned down over half the beautiful city. In 1762, King George moved the court to Buckingham Palace, and then the railroad came around in 1836, making everybody and everything mobile. So many great things have happened in the city of London, but I cannot cover them all because there are so many. London would not have its iconic attractions if it weren't for the people and events that have taken place there. Some notable sites in London are the River Thames is one of the most intriguing in all of London. It flows through southern England and is not a single river in the entire country is long. The closest river is the River Severn. When most people think of the River Thames, they think of the skyline of London, but this is not the only part of England that it goes through. It flows through parts of Oxford, such parts of Reading, and parts of Windsor. The House of Commons and the House of Lords, the two houses of Parliament of the UK, both call the Palace of Westminster home. It is often referred to as the House of Parliament. It is on the Middlesex bank of the River Thames, and it is technically in the city of Westminster, which is located in central London. It is named after Westminster Abbey, which is right next to it. It is designed with the exact same purpose as the old palace, and this is for ceremonial purposes. And it belongs to the Crown, which it always has been, and they plan on it always being that way. Although I've went over a lot of sites, there are numerous more. What makes London different from American cities is the culture, really. There's a famous department store in London called Harrods. It's 7 stories tall and contains 330 departments. You don't find anything really like that in America. Anybody can find what they like to wear. They have a department for every style, from athletic wear to tuxedos, James Bond might wear. Along with all of the departments, they have a food court as well. As you might imagine, the food is distinct, diverse, and most importantly, divine. There are not many places in the U.S. that can compare to Harrods. Another great example is the London Underground. also known as the Tube. One might beg to differ and say it's no different from the subway in New York or the L in Chicago, but the Tube is much cleaner and much safer than any public transportation in large U.S. cities. London always strives to be its own brand of amazing. London will not disappoint you. There is as much history and as many sights as anywhere else you can think of. It has influenced not only Europe, but the rest of the world for hundreds of years. So, if you get a chance, go. Thanks for being here today.